losing.
So roll up that mighty score, never give in. Shoulder to shoulder, we will fight, 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 fight.
Buff Nation, welcome in to Buffs News Weekly Live, our Sunday afternoon show where we discuss obviously the news of the past week, but the big news, of course, was that victory last night. For those of you waking up today on Sunday, hope you're feeling good. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat so I can hear, what you guys thought of that victory tonight. Last night, I should say, this weekend, our first win in the Big 12, a big welcome back to being in the Big 12. And what a victory it was. We're going to go over a little bit about it, just touch on some different things that have come out since last night. You got your Pro Football Focus grades. We will be doing a more in-depth look at some film, which brings me to my next point that I want to let everybody know who's joining us. We do have now memberships live on our YouTube channel, and if you subscribe at the $5 rate, you will get access to the all 22 footage for CU and all their games. Those will get posted by the time by Monday, so you guys will have access to that on my channel on Mondays as long as you are subscribed at the $5 level. So if looking and watching the all 22 to any of the CU games matters to you, you guys can give that subscription and membership go and see what you think. And again, you'll have access to that all 22 footage on my channel. But we've got a number of things to get to. There was some actual news that occurred this last week outside of the game. We'll then move on to a game recap. We're going to look at the different things that have come out with Pro Football Focus. Just how good were we in last night's game, or how bad were we? Get your guys' comments on what you guys thought of the game, where you thought our deficiencies were, where you want to see improvements, and maybe some recommendations that you guys hope occur between now and our next game against UCF. On top of that, we're going to take a look around the Big 12 because there was a number of very important games to look at, as some other Big 12 matchups are going to affect not only our standings, but who we play later on in the season. And I think the Big 12 is going to be a wide open conference. I don't think there's any team that is the easy favorite. Utah is probably the closest that we have to that. But with Cam Rising injured and who knows how long he's going to be out, that team is going to kind of be in influx. I think they had an easier time this week, and we'll talk about that game because that was one of the ones that we watched and paid attention to. So something we're going to have to look at as we go forward. So we're going to look at that as well. But for now, let's dive into one of the bigger stories this week, which for those of you that didn't know, this weekend was a massive, massive recruiting weekend for Colorado. And what a weekend to pick such a huge visit weekend. We had a number of recruits in attendance, including the three that are very important that you guys need to learn about and understand and know. That is the 3 4-star recruits that came this weekend. That included Cardi Smith, an offensive lineman who is committed to USC. We had a safety from Penn State, Byron Baldwin, who was also there. We had a number of players that are going to be very, very important and could potentially be flips for what could happen here coming up. We also had a DB from Indiana who came and visited, 4-star. And when I say Indiana, I mean he's committed to Indiana. And right now, the good news that I want to share with you guys first off is the reports coming out of the weekend and how those recruiting visits went. So, just so you guys know, we've already got this morning a Fong bomb. Those of you that don't know, Steve Wiltfong, of course, is one of On3's recruiting analysts. And when he announces a potential flip, most of the time he is absolutely and 100% correct. And so the first bit of information, Byron Baldwin's actually the Indiana DB. So we have Byron Baldwin flipping from Indiana to Colorado. The other one was Branch, who, if you guys paid attention, spent a ton of time with Coach Prime before the game even started. So right now it's looking good that both Baldwin and Branch could be flips. We'll see about Cardi Smith, but all three of those players, 4-star players, 2 defensive backs, 1 offensive lineman, could be massive gets for Colorado, but that wasn't it. We had a ton of local visitors coming to visit, including one of the top receivers in the state of Colorado, who's, I believe, a 3-star recruit. We had a number of recruits visiting this weekend, and as you know, seeing that game, being a part of that atmosphere, seeing that victory occur, seeing the fans rush the field, seeing how crazy it was in the locker room after that victory, that is the type of weekend and game that you want recruits at, to be able to see what they could potentially have at Colorado. And honestly, with recency biasness that probably occurs when that happens, getting those potential recruits to say, hey, you know what, this could be for me. I think that this place really does work for what I'm looking for. So yeah, it's just unbelievable what we could potentially be seeing. So yeah, guys, huge recruiting weekend. Be on the lookout for some of those changes to see if Byron Baldwin does flip shortly. We also did get a bat signal from Devin Respress. For those of you who don't know, Respress is one of the recruiters for Colorado, and he always throws out a buff bat signal when somebody has decided to commit, but hasn't announced it publicly yet. We did get one of those before the game. After the game, I can only imagine what was going on. We haven't seen anything for that, but expect probably sometime this week we see a number of new recruits committing. And of course, we will have that covered here at Buffs News Weekly for you. So make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned. Real quick, before we continue on again, just a reminder, if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. We are this close to 2,000 subscribers. We're about 50 subscribers away, so every little bit helps. I appreciate it so much. On top of that, make sure to just really quickly, if you're in here, all of you people watching, throw a like down at the bottom. Takes a second, helps the algorithms, helps the channel out. It's a free way of supporting us. So hit that like button if you're in here watching at the minimum. I appreciate it so much. But let's get on to another little bit of news. And that is, unfortunately, some injury news occurring out of the game today, or yet last night. Jace Feely officially announces that he did tear his ACL on that tackle that he had last night. And so his season is officially over. As far as what's going to happen with the place kicking duties on kickoffs, I should say, obviously Mata is still our place kicker for field goals. We have no idea. They played Christian Palazzo last night and he had a pooch kick, which was not good, did not help this team out whatsoever. And so a little bit of concern with that. You have to wonder if they start working on that this week in practice with maybe the freshman Stojanovic, who we know has a leg, but can that translate to kickoffs and just kicking the ball out of bounds? We need the ball to go through the end zone each and every time, okay? I was yelling at my TV last night the couple of times we didn't, and look what happened. We had the really long return that led to 3 points, and then, of course, we had the touchdown return. Boys, that's 10 points that we gave away on special teams last night. That is not going to cut it when our defense is actually performing pretty well. And again, the score this week does not fully tell the story of our defense. I've been hearing a bunch of people say, well, you gave up this many points to Baylor. We didn't really, if we don't count the special teams. Of course, you have to because that's the final score. But that is something that we cannot have happen. Our defense did a great job and did what they needed to. Kevin agreed, did not like that at all. When we almost lose a game just on special teams, that is not good at all. And we're also going to mention and talk about, we talked about it on our post-game show last night, the kick return as well. So special teams all around, piss poor. The only thing that went well was Mata last night. He did go 1 for 1 on field goals and, of course, went perfect on the extra points to take us to that overtime. So that part, really good. The rest of special teams, absolutely awful. And I do think we need to see some changes this week going into UCF in order to really make sure that we are ready to go and not have this issue, because we are going to need it against UCF this weekend. Couple of things that I want to discuss real quick with you guys that I don't know if you guys saw this. Pro Football Focus has come out with some of their grades for last night. And boy, oh boy, is there some interesting stats that we need to look at. The first one that I want to talk about and that we need to really point at is our run defense. Our run defense is vastly improved no matter what anybody says. You want to look at the stats, that's fine. You can just look at the stats and say and come to your own conclusions. But the fact is, our running defense is so much better. We have had a lot of tests these first couple of weeks with run-heavy teams, and that's only going to continue next week with UCF, as that is their bread and butter, both with the quarterback and the running backs. But the good news is we have found a solution at run stopping, and that is in the name of 2 players, or as people have so lovingly started to call them, the law firm that is Bentley Hill Green. Both of those linebackers had an absolute, again, wonderful game. They have had a wonderful game this season, every game this season. And guess what? Pro Football Focus is showing that as our linebacker duo is now rated 3rd in the country for best run stoppers. That is right. 3rd in the country as far as their average run grades. I believe last night what I saw is they were both, I believe Nikhai Hill Green was 90 as his run grade stop. It is absolutely unbelievable to see what they are doing. You guys see it on every play. They are hitting the holes. They are hitting the running backs either at the line of scrimmage or even behind, and doing a fantastic job. Really quickly, Robert, thank you so much. Appreciate you subscribing. Appreciate you dropping in. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us today. As we talk about this on our Sunday videos and our lives, this is just a great time. Have me in the background while you're watching some NFL football. Let's chat some Buffs. Let's have a great and fun Sunday afternoon, especially after a Buffs win last night and in the fashion that we won it last night. I mean, we're going to get to more of that. I cannot wait to look at the all 22 for last night's game. I should be able to get into it either tonight or tomorrow. And I am going to do at least one video this week where I go over and break down some of the all 22 video. There's a couple things that I want to highlight specifically in the game. I'll let you guys know about it here, but a few things. One, I think the way that we can improve the offense when it comes to giving Shedeur a little bit easier of a time, helping out the offensive line, who's obviously having their struggles at times, last night especially. I feel like we're not getting enough of those short to intermediate routes to give kind of Shedeur that kind of safety blanket for when he is under a ton of pressure. Right now, it seems like we're just running too many go routes and deep routes, just trying to go for that deep play, the big time play, rather than going for what's just right in front of us and helping out both the line and Shedeur with that. Again, I won't know until I truly look at the all 22 to see if there was more of that, to see if maybe, hey, did Shedeur miss some receivers? Was he too focused and keyed in on Travis at times, which I do feel like he does get at time to time, because LeJonte Wester, if you guys haven't watched the all 22 footage from other games, is wide open constantly. That guy's open. On top of that, I do know that the 4th down play where it was 4th and 8, we lost the ball and Shedeur took a sack. Jimmy Horn was open on a post route into the end zone. And so it's hard. I talked about it with a number of people. I believe that what he should have done is just chuck the ball up. Okay. Worst case scenario, it's intercepted. Hey, that's a punt. Best case scenario, they catch it. Middle case scenario is you get a pass interference out of it. You got to throw the ball away down the field on a 4th and 8 like that if we're going to go for it. And that was my biggest gripe with the game, was kind of that play. I thought that could have been a big game changer. Luckily, that didn't end up being the play of the game. We got those extra chances. On top of that, of course, we could talk about the drop. Oh, Kevin coming in with the super chat. You think Shedeur holds the ball too long? I think at times he does. Okay. I think at times he does. Other times he's waiting for the play to develop. Again, I want to see the all 22 to see if some of the routes are just taking too long to develop and we need some quicker options. But I do believe that he holds the ball too long sometimes. I also believe that outside of that, outside of, holding the ball sometimes too long, again, sometimes too long, I think when he's scrambling, sometimes he's trying almost too much, and sometimes it's good. And the NFL, they're going to love that about him, that he is always looking downfield for that play. Last night, what I loved about Shedeur's game is he did run the ball more. So rather than try and hold and run around and try and hit somebody, even though he did that a bunch and it worked, he also just took off running, and he had his best rushing game, by the way. One of the best rushing games of his career. I think it was the second most yards he has had in his career rushing, not to mention the 1 touchdown. That's absolutely awesome. So, Kevin, I don't think he does all the time. I think there are some plays where I think he just tries to do too much. People will say that Shedeur holds the ball too long because he doesn't want to, A, get an incompletion, or B, throw an interception. That's not the case at all. He is waiting and wanting to get those passes off. He knows the importance of doing that versus taking the, throwing it away and not getting those yards that we want. He's got to find that medium in between those two things. So absolutely. Yep. Artemis Robbins, the wheel routes are there. $2. 2 needs to find them. And then Antonio Wilson, bro, relax. It's all hindsight. Absolutely. I completely get it. We're just chatting and having fun with this. Outside of those things, we're going to get into a lot of positive things about last night's game. So don't worry. That's just minor gripes I have. And like I said, I'm not going to officially say that those are bad things until I can watch the actual tape and look at the all 22 to decide if there was some meat left on the bone, so to speak. Or if this is all on the offensive line, do we need to figure something out with that? Or is Shedeur just holding the ball too long? All those things. Those are all things that we are going to want to pay attention to and really look at as the week goes on and we start preparing for UCF. A couple reminders there for everybody. Again, Wednesday night, we have our pregame show where myself and David Talks Buffs join up and we discuss both the past week's game. We give out kind of awards and things midweek after we've had time to rewatch and look at the game. And then we go ahead and look forward to our next opponent, which will be UCF in Florida. Looking forward to that game. I think a lot of the guys will be looking forward to it. They're going into their backyard. We know we have a ton of Florida recruits and Florida players who are looking forward to playing pretty much a home game for them, because it's going to be a homecoming, getting their coaches, getting their parents, their family members, their distant family members all come into that game. It's going to be a pretty big Buff contingency because of that. So I'm very interested to see what that looks like. But hey, that place is going to be slamming. It's going to be packed. It's going to be loud. It's going to be bouncing. A lot of fun. Really excited for next week's game and to see what we can do. Moving on, outside the linebackers I just talked about, let's talk about Shedeur. Okay. Let's put behind us the whole, does Shedeur hold the ball too long? Let's talk about the good. Okay. Couple things that I want to talk about. Shedeur Sanders accounted for 86% of the Buffs offense last night per Pro Football Focus. Okay. He is doing what he has to do on offense. He is the biggest part of our offense next to Travis, but Travis can only do so much because, again, they're going to double team him, triple team him even at times last night, as we could talk about on the final play of the game. But yeah, that's just, something to think about. So Shedeur is doing what he needs to do. And let's just talk about this, guys. Let's talk about this. Okay. Weather for next Saturday is going to be nasty. 60% chance of thunderstorms. Hey, 3 of those quarters last night, it was a pouring downpour of rain. If you guys watch even the Hail Mary, that was in an absolute torrential downpour. For Colorado sake, I would say. So that is something that I think we're prepared for. We are going to need to get the running game going, but I think there is a secret to that, guys. I think next week we get back Dallin Hayden. And if I'm being honest, and again, I got to see the tape. I keep saying this because we only see so much from the TV feed, but I noticed on a couple of the runs that Micah did early on where he got stuffed, I think he missed the hole because it looked like there was a cutback lane that was open for him a couple times, and I think he missed those. Dallin Hayden, I think, hits those, not to mention his speed ability and breakaway ability. I think that we're going to have a very important game as far as running goes, and Dallin Hayden is going to be great. On the TV, it did not look that bad. In fact, you know what I'm going to do right now, because this shot of the game, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter. I'm going to show you guys real quick. It's the shot of that final play. You can actually see how bad the rain was. So give me just 1 second here to pull it up, and I will get it going for you guys, because again, yep, here it is. Okay. So we're going to open this up. There we go. Okay. Let's show you what this looks like. That is the rain. That was what was going on all night. Here you guys go. The final play of the game. Look at that rain. Look at it. That's not just any ordinary rain. I mean, that's coming down. Yeah, just look at that. On the Hail Mary, guys. I mean, and let's be honest. Do you guys really think, can you think back on any plays during that game that the rain really affected us? I will say probably the Augustov drop / slip that he had, where he probably would have got us a first down easy. That's probably the only one that I remember. A player really sliding or slipping. The rest of it, no issues. Throwing the ball, no issues. I didn't see Shedeur, lose grip or anything like that. So not sure that weather was really working there. Artemis, some runs were effective. Absolutely. I want to cover that too, guys, because I don't know if you noticed this. Did anybody else notice this? We went under center for a play. We handed it off from under center, and we got a good number of yards. Now, if we can get that under center maybe a little bit more, put it into the game plan, I would really like to see what we could do out of that. Not only running, but imagine us bootlegging Shedeur out of under center and having a tight end, an intermediate route for Wester, and then a deeper route for Travis Hunter. Imagine what we could do on that, guys. Imagine what we could set up. And Shedeur is so good on the run, throwing the ball. The fact that we don't do some of that more is a little bit sad. I really hope that Shermer kind of does that. Shedeur asks for it. Somebody does, because I think it would be absolutely ridiculously insane. Surprise Wester held on the football. He absolutely played that perfectly, guys. I mean, how many times do we watch football and we see that sliding basket catch where the ball goes between their arms? He did such a great job bringing his arms together enough that it caught the ball. So it wasn't like he was trapping it against his chest. He was trapping it in his arms so that he didn't hit the ground when it happened. Absolutely perfect play by LeJohntay Wester. Really important, obviously, but what a big play for him. I'm so happy to see Wester do that. So he needs to run a lot more and stop getting Shedeur hit so much. It won't last 8 more games taking those kind of hits. So here's the thing with that. The key is we need to be more effective at running the ball. We've talked about this, because I want to bring this up as well, because I think we don't realize exactly. I do realize that, yes, we stopped running the ball in the second half, it seemed. We weren't running it as much, but I think a lot of that to do was because we were playing from behind partially. But what I want to show you guys is the run to pass ratio for the game and what that looked like, because I think you guys might be a little bit surprised on what happened there. So let me, why is it? There we go. Okay. Box score. There we go. Okay. Team stats. Okay. So let me show you guys this a little bit, Couple things I want to point out that we pointed out last night in the post-game show. We held Baylor to 7 of 17 on third down, 1 of 2 on fourth down. Of course, the 1 was a touchdown, and we also went 1 of 2, so that's nice. Total yards, we outgained them by over 100 yards. Passing, of course, we way outgained them, but that's because we're a pass-first team. 91 yards rushing on 42 attempts. So we kind of have to forget and pay attention here. I think that, again, the wording we have to use is we need a more effective run game at times, because yesterday we technically did run the ball a lot. 42 times, and we threw the ball 41. We ran the ball more than we passed it, guys. We ran the ball more than we passed it. Can we just take a second to think about that and take a second to realize that we just ran the ball more than we passed it in a game? Now, I'm sure some of those included the Shador runs, but 42 runs, the part that we need to fix is right here. 2.2 yards per carry versus a 4.0 rushing yard, which a lot of that came off of the big run by the quarterback and a few breakout plays. But overall, we ran the ball a lot. We've got to get more effective, which I think, oh yeah, for sure that a majority of those were Shador running for his life and getting yards. Absolutely. But again, I think getting back Dallin Hayden is going to change that effectiveness. See, there you go, people. They ran. We did run. Even if you take out Shador's run, we still ran more than 20-30% of the time, which is still what a lot of people do. Yep. Some of the 2 runs was actually quarterback runs. That's true. We did have a couple of set plays for that, but he also just played right. And then this is the one I want to show you guys. Okay, when we talk about this, look at the time of possession. We won the possession battle. We won the yardage battle. We won the turnover battle. Thus, we won the game. I get that it was close. I get it took the Hail Mary. I get it took overtime, all that. But overall, if you look at these stats, you can be proud of what we did last night. If we had lost that game, I still would have been kind of happy with what happened. Obviously, if we lose off of a Will Shepherd drop and we don't get the second Hail Mary, I'd probably be a lot more mad. But we have got to figure out how to establish a consistent and good enough run game. 3-4 yards a carry, kind of like how Baylor did. Imagine that with our offense and what we'd be able to do. That would be a really important thing. Another good point, if this team can establish the run, they can be very dangerous. But Shador in this offense is all about the air raid. Yeah, I totally get it. Again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. We've seen better run design. We've seen better chunk yardage on runs than what we saw last year or even at the beginning of the season. So again, I'm very excited to see how Dallin Hayden does now that we've kind of found a rhythm when it comes to run blocking and what we're able to do. Okay, couple things that I want to go over. Probably the biggest one. Let's just get to it, guys. The most important thing of the game, the one that you've all been waiting for, the one that you're here for, which is the greatest football player in college football right now, Travis Hunter. To discuss and put the level of play that Travis Hunter on any sort of existence that we know is pretty much impossible. The things that guy is doing goes even further than we can imagine, guys. Just a couple of things that we had come up because of Pro Football Focus. Travis Hunter graded out in the top 5 in cornerback play and wide receiver play yesterday. Top 5 in the country on both positions. That is insane. He is not just good at one. He is unbelievable at both. Okay. Outside of that, you want to hear some interesting stats, guys. This is going to come for you guys. Okay. Travis Hunter, as tracked by Pro Football Focus, has yet to miss a tackle this season, and he has gotten 15 tackles. Okay. So the way they grade that out is, of course, if he misses a tackle, that's going to count against him. He has not missed a single tackle, and he has made 15 tackles already this season in wonderful, wonderful positions. Obviously last night with the big game winning tackle, getting that fumble. But on top of that, his overall grades right now, he is grading out higher on defense. He is an 84.5 on defense. He is a 74 offense. Okay. So for the total season, he is 8th in defense, 13th in offense, Okay, so top 15 in both defense and offense for the entire season. These are unbelievable stats, guys, that we are not going to ever see again. Okay. We are never in our lifetimes, we are never going to see this again. So I always like to remind you guys on the show, hey, enjoy the ride. Enjoy watching Travis Hunter in the black and gold, because we are never going to see something like this again, no matter what. It's just not happening. Travis is a unicorn, and that is just something that we're not going to. The other really interesting thing last night, guys, Travis Hunter was not targeted once on defense, and he still had 2 cover stops. So that's him going off of his coverage man to make a stop. Okay. Really unbelievable. It's absolutely insane what he's putting together, guys. We are not even acknowledging just how good it actually is. And it is insane just on tape. So Travis Hunter, every time we do this show, every time we talk every week, we're going to have to do a little segment on Travis Hunter and what he's doing. Absolutely has to be the Heisman favorite right now. If you guys go, Pro Football Focus has a show where they discuss the week of games. Go watch it, because the way that they talk about Travis Hunter on their end, I think they're absolutely right. No matter what the Buffs do, even if we lose a bunch of games, even if we're not there at the end of the season as one of the better teams in the Big 12, he deserves the Heisman for what he's doing. Okay. Because the definition of the Heisman is the best player in college football. Okay. The best player in college football. It is not the best quarterback in college football. It is the best player in college football. Okay. That is Travis Hunter, 100%. Okay. 100%. And just so you guys know, Pro Football Focus also put out and talked about what their grades are, as far as, what their expectations are the rest of the season and what Travis Hunter is on pace for. Here are the stats that he's on pace for right now, guys. And honestly, they even said that this is probably a little low. It takes into account a possible dip. If he doesn't dip, this could be even better. He is on pace for 111 catches, 1,416 yards receiving, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles is what they have. Okay. I think those interceptions may be higher. I could see him getting 5. Can you imagine he does all that and gets 5 interceptions? That is 100% Heisman stats. Okay. He is 100% winning the Heisman if he gets those stats. As long as he plays the entire season and doesn't miss any games, Travis Hunter is going to be our Heisman Trophy winner this year. And as Dave said last night on our post-game show, he retired the jersey. 12 will never be worn again at Colorado after this season. I'm sorry. The things he's doing on this team will never happen again, and they've never happened in the past. Retire the kid's jersey. Travis Hunter will forever be ingrained as the greatest buff that ever played the game of football. We just really think on that. VHF, good show. Thanks for giving us the grades. Yeah, not a problem. We go over that a little bit. Also, make sure you guys come back this week because I will have an all 22 video where we're going to look through some of that stuff and just get down to the nitty gritty. Now, we're going to look at it together. We're going to see what we see. Okay. I'm no football expert. I'm a football fan, just like most of you are. So that's the way that we look at it here. I'm never going to say that what I say is gospel. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing, what I think I'm seeing. You guys can correct me, or you guys can give your own opinions on that. That's what's great about this show. I'm not going to deter anyone from giving their opinions here. Okay. You guys all have a right to have your opinions and views. I have my rights. I'm just a fan. We're just having fun at this and enjoying the ride when it comes to the Buffs. So make sure you guys come back when we do that live all 22 video breakdown, where I'm going to look over some specific plays that I want to point out, things that we saw. And so you guys can see that. Brings me real quick, something I announced at the beginning of the show, though we didn't have very many people in the show just yet. We do offer memberships now to the YouTube channel. $5 gets you access to all of the all 22 footage for the Buffs, both on offense and defense. $5 gets you each and every week access to that all 22 footage to watch at your leisure on our YouTube channel. So if that's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe with that $5 level, or you can also subscribe at the cup of coffee level, which is just saying, hey, I want to give you a cup of coffee every month. And that is fine as well. Appreciate that. Appreciate all the super chats when we receive them, again, to help me out. Send me a cup of coffee while I watch these videos and help that out. And, we'll see what happens from there. But appreciate that. Appreciate the comments. Appreciate you guys in here. Let's move up a little bit. So obviously, game unbelievable. I'm still in shock that we won that game. I woke up this morning completely in shock. Hopefully you guys went out there, saw all the YouTube videos, watched Well Off, watched Reach the People, got to see the highlights, got to see what it looked like and felt like on the ground for those of us that weren't at the game. That was a game to be at. So really, really, for all of you out there, that was an unbelievable game to be at. And if you were there, you were absolutely lucky. Hey, if anybody was there, feel free to chime in the chat. Let me know. And let me know what it was like being there. How loud was it at Folsom? How loud was it on that Hail Mary play? You hear it on the video, but I don't think it does it justice. Or what was it like when Travis forced that fumble? Unbelievable stuff. What I want to go to next is I want to go really quickly and look around the Big 12. Let's take a look at the other Big 12 games, starting with the one that I watched, the Kansas State game, by the way, guys. Kansas State. Oh, so they were predicted to be one of the top teams in the Big 12, and I have watched them each and every week. I have not been impressed with their victories that they've got, especially with what I heard in the offseason as far as who they were as a team. I've heard people say that Avery Johnson is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. I have actually heard people utter that phrase, put that in writing on Twitter, on other places online. And to say that that was completely and utterly false is a lie in and of itself, because Avery Johnson is not Shedeur Sanders. Okay. So yesterday, Kansas State lost 38-9. Okay. Absolutely dominated by BYU. And they were dominated by BYU because of offensive mistakes and a good defense by BYU. The turnovers that they had, absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to show you this. Look at this. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. There was also a pick 6. So that right there is your game. Look, they even held the possession battle because, again, they like to run the ball. Look at this, 43 times to 27. But honestly, the reason why is because the turnovers and what the defense did as far as scoring goes. Okay. Kansas State had the ball a lot. They were not able to get points on this defense. And to be honest, Avery Johnson just does not look good throwing the ball. He missed a lot of open receivers. He underthrew people. He threw behind his receivers. He threw poorly under pressure. So what that tells me is when we play them in a couple of weeks, it's all about stopping the run, focus on the run, let Avery Johnson try and pass for the win. I'm fine with giving up a few big plays, similar to what we did last night. Again, you take out the special teams, it's a completely different game. I'm going to take and be fine. Okay. DJ McKinney had good coverage on that touchdown. You know, it's a one-handed catch. What else can you say of that? Preston Hodge. Some people are going to say that Preston Hodge got absolutely burned on that touchdown. Preston Hodge, I don't really fault him for that. That play is extremely difficult to go 1v1, especially when that wide receiver is one of the fastest guys in the country. He absolutely is. That is why he got behind. So a little bit different. You kind of live with those plays when they happen, but the key is we're going to get off the field. We're going to stop the run, and we're going to get the ball back. And our offense is just as potent that we can hit those big plays, i.e. the play to Omarion Miller. So I'm not too worried about giving up some big plays here and there. It's not going to be a complete shutdown defense. It's going to be a bend but not break defense. That is who we are through 4 weeks. That's who we're going to continue to be going forward. Okay, so Kansas State, not who we thought they were. BYU is a team to look out for. Luckily, we do not play them this year, but they are right now kind of in the driver's seat to get to the Big 12 championship game, along with a couple other teams. But BYU, team to look out for. Kansas State, not who we thought they were. Not who we thought they were at all. That is something to look out for. The other big game of the day that we want to look at is going to be Utah versus Oklahoma State. Now, I heard some people say, oh my gosh, both these teams look so good. It was such a great game. I 100% agree with that. But I do think in watching Oklahoma State so far this season, there is a lot of things that I've noticed about them. The things that I've noticed is Oklahoma State's defense, very suspect, which you saw here. Look at Utah, 456 yards of offense, okay, versus 285. What Utah did to win this game was not passing it, okay? Look, 17 of 29 for only 200 yards. Really, what Utah did was they ran it. And that is what I've noticed the first couple of weeks against Oklahoma State. Their run defense has been suspect to where they are giving up plays to other teams, and the games are a lot closer than they should have been. Like, they should have been winning big games against some of these other teams. They're still 3-1. They're still kind of right up there. But, you know, just some things. Look, Utah lost the turnover battle 3-2, still lost the game. But look at this, guys. Look at that. 42 minutes. Now, the other thing I want to show you guys, which is going to be an important aspect to what we do with this game. Let me see if I can. Come on. There we go. Look at this, guys. Look at what Ollie Gordon did. Nothing. A whole lot of nothing. The number one running back in the country did nothing. Utah stopped him. Utah won. So again, when we play Oklahoma State at the end of the season, that is the goal. Stop Ollie Gordon. Make Alan Bowman throw the ball, because look what he does. He is not a great passer, and neither is the other quarterback they have. Alan Bowman is the key. We have to get him throwing the ball when we play him. So another really important thing. The last thing, of course, is UCF. They are obviously coming off of a bye this upcoming week. Very interesting that we didn't get to see them play. Of course, their last game against TCU, they came from behind. TCU honestly blew it, but TCU, what's up, North Side? TCU absolutely botched that game. So there's no reason that they shouldn't have won that game. UCF, found a way at the end. But, guys, I think we do have a chance. I will say this, though. Just FYI, the line for next Saturday's game is 11.5 points. UCF, the favorite. I'm not a betting person. I don't give betting advice. I kind of would like to take that bet because I don't think it's going to be this 12-point blowout that Vegas is thinking it is. That one, compared to the other weeks that we've had so far as the betting lines go, that one intrigues me for putting money on the Buffs next week. Will we win? I don't know. I'm not sure yet. As a Buffs fan, I'm going to want to say that they'll win, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tough road game. It's going to be a game that is going to focus on the run. If we can stop the run, we'll have a chance. We do need to figure out a ton on offense. Northside, I get it. No more portal O linemen. There's a reason. Hey, Cardi Smith was at CU yesterday. USC recruit for offensive line on that tackle spot. He was there. We also obviously have Chauncey Gooden coming in. We're starting to build the recruiting classes, boys. We are starting to build the recruiting classes. So I think that we will start to see more of that come next year. Plus, we do have some good depth on the offensive line going into next year. We have some options. Kevin again with the super chat. Appreciate you, Kevin. If the Buffs line can hold up, we can win. Absolutely. That's going to be the name of the game every single week. Here's something I want to tell you guys, and this is how we're going to kind of slow down and end the show for today. Appreciate you guys coming in, but obviously we did some shuffling yesterday. I've heard a lot of people very critical of Khalil Benson at right tackle. Guys, Khalil Benson switched to guard late in the spring and has been playing guard since, and was asked mid-game, not even halftime, but asked during the game to switch back to right tackle. That is a very, very difficult thing to do in the moment. So I'm going to give him a pass for now. What I do want to see, and you guys tell me if you agree with this, okay? Tell me if you agree with this. But are we all just ready to see some consistency on the line? And what I mean by that is, can we just go with a line and stick with it and see if we can get it to work? I felt like we were closer last week with what we got from CSU and even the first 2 drives of this game. And then, things started going south. And so we made a change. We brought out Houston. We brought back in Benson, brought back in Mayers. I like the line that we have, which, by the way, is the one that we projected last spring to be the starting lineup. We projected that it was going to be Seton, Tyler Brown, Hank Zlinkus, Mayers, and Khalil Benson. That was the line that everybody thought we were going to get this season. Maybe swapping out Tyler Brown for Tyler Johnson. But other than that, this is the lineup that we thought was going to happen. Why didn't we see this game 1? Why couldn't we have seen if it works in an actual game, if they can get it together, if they can figure their stuff out? So now we're finally seeing it. And I want to give them a chance to mesh, and I want to give them a chance to fight with each other. Let Khalil Benson stay at right tackle. Let him figure it out. Give him the same help that Phillip Houston had at times. I think Mayers getting back in the game is really good. I wanted to see him back. I think he's a better guard. And I think he, got kind of a short end of a stick at the beginning of the season. So as we go through here, I'm going to see what happens this week. I hope we do not make another change. Let's stick with this. Let's develop this line. Let's get them to where they need to be and get better each and every week with that line. So, so you should get no more grad O-line unless they are fresh and out of the portals. Yep, I do agree. I loved the Kirkland grab. I loved, all those guys who were, true freshmen last year that transferred in. Great. That's wonderful. I agree. The senior grad transfers, unless they're absolutely the best of the best, and we don't see that very often in the portal, as we saw, unless there's some really big name person that hits the portal, i.e. like when Proctor went to Iowa and then ended up back at Alabama anyway. That would be something where I'd be like, yes, please. But I agree. We need to develop the offensive line. I don't know what they're going to do about Hank. Yeah, we don't have options there. Unfortunately, we're going to have to live with it. Shador is going to have to live with it. And Justin don't communicate. We're having a lot of communication issues on the interior, especially when it comes to center and how Zelinskas is handling some of the blitzes up the middle. So that's where we're at. I'm interested to see what happens this week. Reminder, Wednesday night, 7 p.m. for sure. The Buff Blitz with David Talks Buffs and myself. We will go over this game as well as look forward to the UCF game. So make sure you are tuned in right here. So you are subscribed. You know when we go live. On top of that, I will be doing an all 22 breakdown live here with you guys. Remember, so keep an eye on that. I don't know what day that's going to be just yet. I have to see when I can actually watch the film and then give you guys a good opinion. And again, if you want to, make sure to subscribe on our membership for $4.99. You guys get access to all 22 on the channel. So a great little extra benefit. And then, of course, you'll get shouted out in all our videos and be a part of that as well. Love shouting those people out. Northside, appreciate you. Buffs are stronger together. That's right. And last night was an absolute unbelievable night to be a Buff. So with that being said, I'm going to call it quits for now. Thank you guys so much for joining me in on the Sunday show. Appreciate you guys. This has been a lot of fun. I love doing this with you guys. I love talking sports. And again, thank you guys for supporting me in my dream, in my passion project of getting to talk sports publicly with others and getting your guys' support and watching. Appreciate all that you guys do for me. So until next time, just remember, Sko Buffs. See you guys later.